All right, we are live. Welcome, YouTube world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We're gonna go ahead and get started. For those who are catching this on the replay, again, want to welcome to the channel, Carolina's Own. That's my social media handle. My name is Audrey Truesdale. I'm a local entrepreneur, real estate investor here in North Carolina. And so, welcome to the channel. For those of you who may not be familiar with me, I am the founder of Carolina's Business Credit Alliance. And simply what that group is we are kind of like a blog. We do a lot of informational content. We post, information on how to build business credit, how you can go about obtaining business credit, banks that lend to different various types of business structures, and so on and so forth. So my goal with the Carolinas Business Credit Alliance is to help people on their business credit journey, so they don't make some of the same mistakes that I did. Now, I have successfully been able to obtain almost $170,000 in business funding for my one company. Now, the beauty of our Carolinas Business Credit Alliance program is that not only am I able to give you past prior experience on how to build business credit, but I'm actually building business credit for two other companies that I'm working on now and building them out. And so I kind of wanted to just share the journey with everyone, give everyone some tips and tricks on how to build business credit. Now, in addition to that, what I like to do on this channel is share some business credit information with you guys. And so that's what we're going to do here tonight. So thank you for subscribing to the channel. You can follow me on Instagram as well, same handle, Twitter, Instagram. We do have a free Facebook group for our Carolinas Business Credit Alliance program. It is Carolina's Business Credit Alliance, and then CBCA Network, if you can't type out that whole title. But hop on over to Facebook, chat with me. I'm pretty active in there. Also, we do have a free band group chat. So if you're catching this on the replay, or if you want to, talk about business credit with other business owners, if you're new to business credit, not really sure how to get started, jump on over to band. Band is great. We got a group chat over there as well. It's free, no cost. And we are putting out a free 5-step guide on how to get started in business credit. All right. So quick commercial out the way. But like I said, tonight, what we really want to discuss and what we want to talk about is how to build business credit using net 30 vendors. Okay. And if you take a look at my screen, you'll see that what we really want to focus on is building those business credit profiles in such a way that it strengthens your company's business credit overall profile. Now, if you've caught me I spoke about this on some of our lives in our Facebook group. We talked about how to structure your personal credit properly. Okay, so I'm not going to cover personal credit tonight, but what I do want to stress is that you do want to get your personal credit in position. You don't want to have a bunch of authorized users. I'm noticing a trend now. People are adding authorized users. People are also going after non-bank type of store cards, My Jewelers, New Coast Direct, all of these different type of cards. I would suggest maybe try to mix in some credit union accounts, mix in some bank issued trade lines, primary, meaning that you own the debt, you own that actual trade line in your name, not an authorized user that you're piggybacking off of someone else's good credit and good name. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into tonight's presentation, what we're talking about. So essentially what we're talking about tonight is how to build an 80 paydex score in 60 days, okay? And so essentially the thought process behind this is what we teach our mentees in our mentorship program. But essentially the thought process behind building a paydex score, right? It's kind of equivalent to the 700 FICO score. That's the heralded 700 club that most people aim to be in when we talk about personal credit. Now, if you're not familiar with the Paydex score, essentially what a Paydex score is, it is a business risk score that is given to your business based on your business credit profile with Dun and Bradstreet. Okay, so Dun and Bradstreet is the oldest business credit reporting agency. They're over 100 years old. Okay, and so with Dun& Bradstreet, essentially what they have done and have what they do, they provide business data reporting. You can actually build a profile. You can go to Dun& Bradstreet. If you Google free Duns number, you can obtain what is called a Duns number. Okay. And with that Duns number, once you've established that Duns number for your business, you can then essentially go out and start building vendor credit. Net 30 credit is what we're going to talk about tonight. You can essentially go out and start building net 30 vendor credit for your business. All right. And the power in building net 30 vendor credit is that now what you essentially did is you basically, if you think about your business as a let's just say a baby, right? Your business in the beginning, infant stages, right? You are feeding the business, you're funding the business, you're putting money into the business, you're using your personal credit as a guarantor to get funding for the business. But as you move along and you start to generate revenue, 6 figures a month, 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, 8 figures a year. Now, what you can then do is as you build a track record, you start to have business bank statements, you have revenues for the business, tax returns, make sure you file your taxes properly. We're going to cover that in another live stream. But essentially what ends up happening is over time, as you get 4, 5, 10 years into business, now you've established your business credit. So you want to start this process as soon as possible. Now, some may argue, oh, well, I don't want to personally guarantee for debt. Now, we're talking about fintech companies, and we're talking about what we're talking about tonight. Net 30 companies, you won't have to personally guarantee. Gas cards, net 30s, net 20s, net 15s, you won't have to personally guarantee. Now, we're talking about bank funding. We're talking about SBA funding, business lines of credit, business credit cards, business loans, term loans. Yes, you will have to personally guarantee. Now, I'm not aware of any banks that don't ask for a personal guarantee for any type of unsecured debt. I could be wrong. Comment in the comments and let me know if you're aware of any banks that will not ask for a personal guarantee. As far as I know, the only credit card available that you could get a no personal guarantee, meaning you are not personally liable for the debt, is the Sam's Club MasterCard. All right. So now that we got that off the table, let's talk about how to build business credit profiles, right? Because essentially, what I always recommend and what I always tell people is you want to get to a strong 720 on the personal side. You want to clean up your personal credit. We'll kind of walk through how to structure your personal credit. But once you get your personal credit in position, that's great, right? You're in 720 on all 3 bureaus. You're like, oh man, I'm ready to go get some bank funding, some business credit cards, business lines of credit. Now, essentially, you're in position to go ahead and start applying and getting bank funding, right? I would not tell you I would wait to get business funding if you're at a 720. But what I will say is if you take the necessary steps that we'll talk about tonight and build out your business credit profiles, you open yourself up to getting more funding, okay? And what I essentially mean is if, let's say, you're at a 720 on the personal side, and then let's say you get 4 to 5 vendor trade lines on the business side, now your personal is strong and your business is strong. So now when lenders look at you, they got that much more data to go off of, right? So if you only got the personal, and let's say your personal is kind of shaky or you just new to credit, you don't have a 3-year profile yet, you may not get as high a limit, right? You may get a $10,000, $15,000 business credit card, which is great, like nothing wrong. But if you build out the business side, the business credit report properly, now you just, my friend, open yourself up to a $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 business credit card just by taking those extra steps that we're going to talk about tonight. All right. And essentially what we're going to talk about is the 80 Paydex strategy, how to get an 80 Paydex score in 60 days. All right. And so when we talk about personal credit, these are some things you just want to keep in mind as you go along in your business credit journey, right? This is a journey, it's not overnight. You're not going to get, millions of dollars in funding in 60 days. I won't sit here and tell you that. But what I will say is tonight what we're going to cover is an easy way to fast track building your business credit profile, so you're not wasting money and time buying from vendors that claim to report, but you don't see them reported on your business credit profiles. You're wasting precious days and times and invoices paying these vendors, and they're not reporting the data. All right, but we want to make sure that we got our personal credit in position. So what do we mean when we say we got our personal credit in position? That means you want to have a minimum of 10 plus primary accounts. Minimum 10 plus primary accounts. Now, when you are building out your business credit profile, if you have 1 to 2 authorized users, I suggest if you are adding authorized users that you guys are in the same household. I'm getting a lot of feedback that banks are starting to really crack down on these authorized users. They may be a thing of the past at this point. So I wouldn't rely heavily on building your personal credit profile with authorized user trade lines at this point in the game. You want to make sure you got 10 plus primary trade lines. All right. Next, you want to make sure you have no derogatory items. That could be child support, bankruptcies, late payments. If you have one late payment, you may be able to get away with a goodwill letter. Some people have had success. It's about a 50-50 chance with the goodwill letters, but they do work. Another thing is you want to make sure you have no collections, no charge-offs. Anything negatively reported on your credit, you want to make sure you clean that up ASAP before you start going for bank funding. Now, can you apply for bank funding with these items on your credit? Yes. How successful you will be, who knows? Who knows? Who really knows, right? All right, so next we want to pay attention to our credit utilization. We want to keep our utilization when we're talking about credit utilization. We want to be at about 30% is like the bar. That's like a C average. That's average good credit, 30%. Ideally for funding, you want to be around that 10 to 15% mark. And to maximize your personal credit score, just to have a highest score possible, you want to fall in that 3 to 5% range. We're talking about total revolving usage. Okay, that's what a utilization is. How much revolving credit you have totally. So if you have $5,000 in available revolving credit and you carry a balances across those of $5,000, you're at 10% utilization. All right. Now, next, we want to make sure we're not, going around just shooting off applications and applying for credit willy-nilly. You want to make sure you got 3 or less inquiries per credit report. Now, on the personal side, having more than 3 is not necessarily a bad thing, but when we're talking about applying for business funding, it is a bad thing. It can hurt you if you have 5, 10, 15, 20 inquiries on your credit report, especially in a short window. If you got 15 inquiries in like a 45-day period, that could be result in an instant denial. All right, so next, let's talk about how we are going to set up our company to start getting funding, okay? And this is something that I talk about in our free guide. It's available. If you shoot me a DM on Instagram, I can send you over a copy. We're building out the website for everybody to get access to the free business building guide. It's 5 steps that work for me and others in my mentorship program. They work. It's proven. You just have to follow the blueprint. A lot of this stuff with business credit is just following the blueprint. Not getting off script and really just focusing in. And knowing what your goals is for funding, right? It's not just enough to get funding. You want to have a goal for what you want to do with the funding. All right, so you want to establish your entity. You want to set up with the Secretary of State. You want to go to whatever state you're in, Secretary of State, file. You can create an LLC, you can create an S Corp or C Corp, all entities available to you. Now, we're not going to get into nonprofit funding because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. We're going to stick strictly to business funding, for-profit businesses, so C Corp, S Corp, or LLC. All right, and then you want to become bank compliant. You want to have a company website, company email with domain name, business address, business phone number, Google listings, online listings, all of that good stuff. All right, and then next, what we're talking about tonight, you want to build small trade lines. You want to get to about 4 on every bureau. 4 on every bureau will pretty much strengthen your business credit report. Now, if you want to go the extra mile and add, 5 to 10, pretty much you're done. You don't really need a ton more than that unless you're just like me and you're just obsessed with this business credit stuff and you're just always looking for other vendors that report. I do it for data points. So if you're at a point where you built out this business credit report and you got about 5 to 10 trade lines reporting, that's a solid profile. You shouldn't have any problem getting any other vendor type of net vendor accounts at all once you get to about 10. All right, and then next, the last piece to the puzzle, you want to start reaching out to local and community banks and ask about funding. Find out what banks have business lending capacity. Find out what banks have business credit cards, business accounts, business lines of credit. You just want to start networking with local banks, figure out what banks are lending, what products they have for your business, and just start having conversations, start networking and having conversations, figuring out which banks are a good fit for the type of funding that you're seeking. All right, so next, let's talk about net payment terms, right? When we talk about net vendor payment terms, essentially what the net payment terms are is you're going to have a net payment, right? And net, for lack of a better word, just means paid in full. I always equate it to this balance is paid in full. It's not a revolving account at all. And so net payment terms usually are given for a period of time for repayment, right? And so net payment terms can be anywhere from 7 up to about 90 days. So you can have net 7, net 21, net 15, net 30s. That's most popular, net 30s, net 60s, even net 90s, believe it or not. Some business vendors give you 90 days to pay the invoice in full. All right, so with that being said, typically you see most vendors give you a net 30 payment terms. And what that essentially means is different from revolving credit on the personal side, that if you get an invoice on the 1st of March, then you're expected to pay that invoice in full. So let's say you get an invoice from Quill for $100 on March 1st. By April 1st, you are expected to pay that $100 in full. You do not carry a balance, okay? Now, just a quick side note. When we talk about net 30 vendors and paid vendors, you want to make sure that you pay about 7 to 10 days early. You don't want to actually pay on the actual due date. It's actually considered late in business credit. So pay about 7 to 10 days early, and that should get you squared away as far as net payment vendors. All right. So whenever possible for the gas cards, just a suggestion, I suggest you set up auto pay where they just draft the payment strictly out of your bank account. A lot of times with the gas cards, and I've experienced this, people in our mentorship program have also experienced where you use the gas cards, they email you the invoice. It can be a headache to dig through it. Sometimes it's buried in your email. They don't necessarily send an invoice in the mail, okay? So with that being said, the way that I found to combat that is just when you essentially get the gas cards, when you open up the gas card account, tell them that you want to just go ahead and send over your bank information. You may have to pay a setup fee, $40, $50, but it's well worth it to know that you got that set up on auto pay and you never have to worry about it being late or anything like that. All right, so again, we talk about bank compliant. You just want to make sure you got a business address. You want to make sure that you're listed on all the major listing services: Google My Business, YP.com, 411.info, List Yourself, and Yelp. Yelp is free as well to list your business on Yelp. Get about 4 or 5 reviews as well. I'll talk about that in our free guide. So, you want to get on Yelp. All right, a business phone number, local number is best. Banks want to lend to people in their local market. The banks that we, like to get funding from are usually local banks and community banks, credit unions. So they want to see that local number. Website, of course, doesn't have to explain that. It's 2021. If you're not on the web, your business is non-existent. I'll just say that. And then you want to open a business bank account, okay? So you want to get established with a business bank account. Make sure the business is in good standing, because some banks may ask for a letter of good standing from your Secretary of State. All right, so the meat and potatoes of tonight: how do we build this 80 paydex strategy, and how do we do it in 60 days, right? That's the $1 million question. How do we build this 80 paydex strategy in 60 days? All right, so essentially the strategy and steps we want to take to do so: we want to build out 2 NAV accounts, okay? We want to get 2 NAV accounts, and I'll explain what NAV accounts to get here shortly. And then you want to get 2 gas cards. Remember, I just talked about the gas cards. You want to set those up on auto pay. You want to use them for vehicle gas. Some gas cards allow you to use it for vehicle maintenance. You just have to check with whatever gas card that you're working with. All right, and then next, after we establish those accounts for your business, remember, we got to get the DUNS number first because we can't apply for any of these vendors without the DUNS number. But after we establish the 2 gas cards, the 2 NAV accounts, then we want to go to uline.com, uline.com. And what we want to do with uline.com is we want to open up a vendor account, a net 30 vendor account. Now, I'm going to get into the particulars of how to set up the net 30 account with Uline, but essentially it may be some other steps involved to get set up with Uline. All right. Then we want to either go with SupplyWorks or Strategic Network Solutions. Okay. Either SupplyWorks or Strategic Network Solutions. Okay. All right. So let's break this down. Let's get into it. All right. So for those of you that are not familiar with nav.com, nav is a business funding, business reporting data provider. So essentially what NAV does is they match you with other lenders that may be a good fit for your business. So they match you with Fundbox, Bluevine. They recommend American Express cards to you. They recommend all different types of funding. Now, some may say that NAV gets a kickback off of this. Who knows? I'm not sure. But I love NAV, and the reason I love NAV is because they provide the SBSS score. And for those of you who've heard me talk, saw me on Instagram talking about this SBSS score, Small Business Success Score. This is the SBA loan score. So anytime you're going for SBA funding, and I'm not specifically talking about PPP or EIDL, those are kind of newer SBA loan products. I'm talking about 7A loans, working capital loans, SBA 504 loans, SBA micro loans. Typically, anytime you're applying for any of those type of loans, you're going to have to go by the bank is going to use the SBSS score. And I'll talk about that, how it's generated on another video, but I don't want to take up too much time. But NAV does provide this. Now, the caveat with NAV, and when we're talking about these 2 NAV accounts, you want to start with the business loan builder account with NAV. That's the first NAV account I would suggest you get. It's $49 a month. If you pay quarterly, I believe it's $149 for the quarter. I pay quarterly, and they will give you the SBSS score. So you will get this SBSS score with the NAV loan builder program. It's the only way that I know of where you can get this SBSS score. I'm going to put a link in the description below for nav.com for those of you that may be watching this on the replay. But that is the only place that I know of that you can get the SBSS score from. And maybe some other places you can't even get it. Now, another thing, just real quick, when we're talking about this SBSS score, it is a FICO generated score, meaning FICO does provide the scoring model for the score. The algorithm is created by FICO. All right. So first you want to go to NAV and you want to get the business loan builder plan. All right. That's the first NAV account I suggest you get. Now, the reason why you get the business loan builder is not only do you get the SBSS score, but they give you one trade line on all 3 business credit reports. So you get a trade line on the Bradstreet, Business Experience, and Business Equifax. You get a trade line automatically out the gate as soon as you sign up with NAV. They report on the first every month. All right, so make sure you get that NAV account set up before the first of the month, and you're good to go. Now, with NAV, what you then want to do is you want to go back to NAV. So you set up the loan builder program on one account with your business. Then you go back to NAV with a separate email account, and you want to get the business boost plan. Okay. Now, when you sign up for this business boost plan, that one is $39 a month. I think I pay like 80 something a quarter. I always do the quarterly, so I just pay 3 times a year. I don't really like monthly drafts on my business credit cards often because I use them to actually fund my business. So I don't really like to use these. Sometimes I even use personal funding, which we teach in the mentorship. But what was I saying? As far as NAV is concerned, when you go and get the Business Loan Builder program, you essentially get 2 trade lines on Business Equifax, and I'm gonna talk about why that's so key. So essentially, when we're talking about building this 80 payday score, you get your 2 NAV accounts for the reason that I'm gonna list out later on. The Business Equifax. All right, so you get 2 trade lines on Business Equifax. Keep that in mind. All right, so now that we got the 2 NAV accounts, and I kind of got this out of order, so I'm gonna go back to what that slide. Next, we want to get 2 gas cards. You want to get 2 gas cards. I like BP MasterCard because BP MasterCard also reports to all 3 business bureaus. So now we got 3 on Equifax, okay? And I'm highlighting Equifax because not a lot of vendors report to Business Equifax. I see online and Facebook groups and people who reach out to me via DM. They always say, how do I get this Business Equifax score higher? There's no trade lines that report. I know it's very, very few, but BP is one of them, okay? So they report to Business Equifax, all right? So then I will get BP MasterCard. It's underwritten by Fleet Corp. So any of the Fleet Corp, Fuelman, BP MasterCard, all of those are good cards to get. I believe Pilot J is another one. I'm here in North Carolina. We have Pilot J's. We have BP's a lot. And then you want to get a WEX Bank card. So WEX Bank is you'll either have QT, Shell, Marathon, all of those. And they report monthly and quarterly. So depending on how your account is set up, some report quarterly, some report monthly. Just be aware that you will see it pop on the Dun & Bradstreet, Business Experience, and your Business Equifax. Once you get that first or second invoice, you'll see it pop on your business credit reports. All right. So with that being said, they report to Dun & Bradstreet. Now, how do you get the 80 paydays, right? You need 3 payment experiences. 3 payment experiences on Dun & Bradstreet to generate an 80 or generate a payday score, period. All right. So that's NAV. Okay, we got NAV is the first one. 2 gas cards. There's 3 right there for Dun & Bradstreet. So that, my friend, will get you to the 80 paydays. All right. Now, after we get the gas card set up, then you want to go to Uline.com. Uline is a great vendor. I always suggest, if you're building business credit, establish an account with Uline. They're really friendly. They have been a little more stricter about giving net 30s lately, but on average, if you spend some money with Uline, they typically will extend the net 30. Now, just to give you a quick backstory on Uline, they sell various products, cleaning products. They sell a lot of shipping and packing. I use them for my e-commerce store. So when I'm shipping out items, I use the boxes and stuff from Uline. They're great for that. I can buy in bulk and save money and build business credit. Now, they do report to Dun & Bradstreet, and they also report to Business Experience. So now you got NAV on Dun & Bradstreet. You got the 2 gas cards on Dun & Bradstreet, and now you got NAV on Dun & Bradstreet. You got 2 gas cards, and now you got Uline. Now you got 4 trade lines on Dun & Bradstreet. Okay. Now, one quick tip: if you apply for a net 30 with Uline and they deny you, or they say they cannot extend net 30, no worries. Don't get discouraged. What you essentially want to do is, maybe let's say you apply on the 1st of March for a net 30. They tell you that they can't extend the net 30. Go ahead, make a $50 order, $60 order, and a week or so later, once you see that they invoice you for the order, a week after the invoice, or maybe 14 days, go ahead and pay it, right? And then just place an order the next day for about the same amount, about 40, 50 bucks. Place your 2 orders in 30 days. And on that 3rd order, right? That's why we say 60 days to execute the strategy. You need some time to build this out. So on the 3rd order, usually as long as you paid on time and you paid in full, you had no issues with paying Uline back, you will be able to get the net 30 on the 3rd order. All right, so just keep that in mind. We already talked about the gas cards. All right, so let's talk about supply work. So this is how you can get 5 Dun & Bradstreet trade lines, one NAV account, 2 gas cards, Uline, and supply works. That's 5. Remember, we need 4 on all 3. So this is 5. This is how you build out a solid, strong business credit profile in 60 days. You don't want to take forever to do this. You want to get to getting funding for your business, right? You don't want to waste a lot of time with this. So adding supply works, right? Similar to Uline, they offer cleaning supplies, office supplies. You can get, whiteboards. They have a myriad of different materials and items that you can order. Now, the beauty of supply works also is that they're a Home Depot company. So essentially what you can do with supply works, you can actually apply for, let me see if I got mine. You can apply for your Home Depot Pro card, okay? And so essentially what this does is, sorry guys, I'm fumbling through my business credit cards. And so essentially you can get the Home Depot Pro card, if you can see that, the Home Depot Pro purchase card. And what this does is this Supply Works is an online company. So you go online, you fill out the application, usually the same day that you fill out the application, as long as you have your DUNS number and your business information, they will give you an account number. Now with that account number, you can go on supplyworks.com, get the item numbers of things that you want to order, and then call Supply Works and place your order. That's typically how that works. But what you can also do is once you establish your account, you have your account number, you can go online and you can order your Pro purchase card. With your Pro purchase card, now you can go to Home Depot and use this card and still build business credit. So you don't necessarily have to be relegated just to what they sell online. You can use your Pro purchase card. All right. So that's why I like Supply Works. Now, another reason why I like Supply Works is they also report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. You have to pay the invoice though. You have to pay the invoice 7 to 10 days early. Make sure you're not late, and they will report as well. All right. And like I said, you can use it at Home Depot as well. That's why we like Supply Works. They're a great starter vendor to start out with when you're building your business credit and you don't have, those 4+ trade lines. All right. So next, Strategic Network Solutions. Why do I like Strategic Network Solutions? Well, for one, they report to Business Equifax. Now, they were reporting to Business Experian. I'm not sure if they still are, but they also report to the Credit Safe. And that's another business credit vendor that a lot of people talk about is Credit Safe. They are really starting to become more popular. BMW reports to them. Dell reports to Credit Safe. They pull Credit Safe, and various other vendors. A lot of vendors are starting to report to Credit Safe and pull Credit Safe reports, because the thing with Dun & Bradstreet is they charge you to pull business credit profiles. Same with Experian. They make you pay to pull the actual business report. So if you're extending credit to a business, you have to pay for their report to see if you want to extend business. The thing about Credit Safe that's key is that they have unlimited pools. So you pay an annual fee and you can pull business reports all day long for different businesses that you may want to extend a line of credit or funding to. All right, so Strategic Network Solutions, they're a software company primarily. You can go and buy ebooks. You can go and buy software, QuickBooks trainings, accounting software. They have various different types of softwares. Now, the software is all overpriced. I'll be honest. It's not, it's not a secret that they're in the business of making money. But if you spend $75 or more, they will report your Tier 1 trade line to Business Equifax. All right. So again, let's go through it. You got NAV reporting for 2 trade lines on Business Equifax. You got 2 NAV trade lines. Okay. And you got 2 gas cards. So now you got 4. And then you add Strategic Network Solutions. They also report to Business Equifax. So now, my friend, you got your 5. You don't have to worry about building any more trade lines for Business Equifax. All right, using this strategy. And so essentially, if you did want to get a Tier 1 account with Strategic Network Solutions, you would then just apply with Behalf. They will do a credit pull. I'm not sure if it's a soft pull or hard pull, but they do ask for PG at that point, I believe. They may go off the business credit. I'm not 100% sure how BHAF works. I haven't applied for it myself. I'll probably do a video where I'll break that down. I'll apply for it and get the data points on it. But just be aware that you can get a tier 2 if you spend $300 with Strategic Network Solutions. Now, just a quick caveat, Strategic Network Solutions also owns another business trade line vendor called Summa Office Supplies. Summa Office Supplies was reporting. I don't know if they still are. I haven't confirmed. For my e-commerce store, they were reporting the business experience, but then I saw on my business experience report that it stopped reporting. So they may not be reporting at this time. All right. And so with that being said, I know we got some questions. Let's see if we got any questions about anything. I don't think we do, but that's pretty much how you build out that 80 payback strategy. It's really not a lot of guesswork involved with it, and I'll probably break this down in an actual YouTube training video for you guys. Working on getting more content out. I apologize for the delays. Just got a lot going on. Planning a big wedding here on April. So, ready to get that life part of life going. But with that being said, if you do have any questions, please connect with me on Instagram, Carolina's Own, Facebook. We have a Carolina's Business Credit Alliance Facebook group, CBCA Network. We got the free guide coming, so stay tuned for that. Also on Twitter and Clubhouse, Carolina's Own on all social media. Connect with me if you got any questions. I'm going to post a link to the free group chat for BAN, the free BAN group chat. So definitely make sure you hop in there and ask your questions, get your business credit funding journey started. It's a great time to be a business owner, really, honestly and truly. It's a great time to be a business owner. Things are opening up. We got vaccines coming out. It's a great time to go ahead and start your business, or if you're an established business owner, but you have not took the time to build out business credit, now's the time to go ahead and start building out your business credit. All right, so I hope you guys got some value from this live stream. Make sure you tune in again next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, same time. And as always, connect with me online, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse, and all that good stuff. And I'll post a link for the BAN group chat. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below and let me know your thoughts on the strategy. And if you have any of these vendors already, comment and let me know what vendors you do or don't have and where you're aware that you could get 2 NAV accounts for your business. All right. Stay tuned for more to come. We appreciate you, YouTube, and we're out of here.